And if I just need to remove this one.
I'm here.
Oh,
Hey.
has he just joined? Oh, I've
Hey.
just switched over and now you've messed up all the whole start of everything. Wonderful. Put your camera on.
Hold on, 1 second. I thought we were starting at 7.
We're finishing at 7.
Oh, we're finishing at 7. Oh, right.
Oh,
Okay.
man, whatever. Anyway, hello everyone, and welcome to a fully homebrewed D&D 5e campaign that I have titled Legends of Aleria, for want of a better title, really. It's made by me, and I'm going to be the DM and host for this campaign, and I have 5 lovely players. Unfortunately, one of them is going to join about halfway through. But currently I'm here with 4 of them, so if I just want to go around everyone and introduce people one by one. So we'll just begin with Michael.
Hi, I'm Michael. I'll be playing Eric Lythe, the Shadowkai Druid.
Enigma.
I am Enigma. I will be playing as Janus Rocott the Warbreaker.
Nice.
I am a fighter / barbarian.
I get a free advantage against you at any point during the session because you were late. Thanks for that. And then we have Belaruk, played by Hal.
Indeed. As a Beleric is ruined my ability to talk here. Beleric is an orcish bard. Yeah, fun.
And then we have Ivar.
Greetings. I am going to be playing Ivar Bastionson, the dwarf mage, and yeah, it's going to be good.
And then we have one player who, like I said before, is going to make it in about halfway through, called Evelios Oakenheel, played by Arcanist. But he unfortunately had a work schedule change, and as you can also see on the stream, kind of down in, not that side, down in that far corner, we did have one player leave on us very last minute, so unfortunately we are down 1 at the moment, and I did not have time to update the stream overlay, so if anybody wants to join and save me changing all of this stream overlay stuff, join the Discord. It's linked down below in the stream description, and you're more than welcome to hop along. Anyway, I think we're just going to delve right into it and get into the world of Aleria and delve into this adventure. So all these players today, we've done some extensive work on the backgrounds, and they're all already established characters in the world of Aleria. They're all legends, hence the title Legends of Aleria. And we begin today with Janice and Eric. You've both been on a boat for some time, in fact, heading from the very top of the continent. If I scroll up on the map here, you'll be able to see. Near the front lines, as Evelios had sailed over and informed you that the king has wanted to see you in the capital, down in the Lyrians. So you've all grouped up. You've headed on his ship all the way down the east coast and up the river to get to Illyrians. And we get here today as you are sailing in through the port, through the giant city of Aleria. It's the capital. It's very fancy. Lots of buildings are made of very expensive rocks, marbles. People have fountains and statues outside in their little gardens. Lots of very expensive and extravagant things built all over the place. And as you get into the dock, it's kind of like the rich dock. There's a poor dock on the outside where, all the plebs stay. But you, being legends and rich people, you do get to stay in the very rich dock that's conveniently nearer the palace. And as a ship sails in, we switch to Belaruk. You are currently stood on the dock. You, being a bard and a storyteller, you've heard tell of things going on, and you've heard tell that they will be arriving today. So you're waiting on the dock, waiting for them to arrive. And you see this massive elven ship, orange sails. The hull is covered in loads of different trinkets and alchemical kind of components and bottles used to protect different parts of the hull. All of the cannons that are across the hull are all different shapes and sizes and colours. And it's got very elegant kind of strips and like wooden carvings along the front that lead up to the bow. And the ship sails in, it docks, and off get 2 figures first that you recognise almost instantly. You have written bards and ballads and poems about these people. The first one will be Eric Lythe. So do you want to go ahead and introduce your character for us?
Yes. So Eric Lythe is a very short, feeble man. He's about 5 foot. He's very, very skinny. He looks a lot older than he in fact is, despite him being quite old. He's got a thin, wispy beard that's originally white, but it's been so stained with mud and mottled fur and everything that it's just a bit of a mess. But the biggest thing that draws your eye is the giant mushroom that is seemingly growing out of his back. The man is covered in fungus. He's a mushroom boy. But yeah, this one predominant one, it covers the entirety of his head, goes back a bit, and yeah, you see, he when you hear legend, you don't imagine someone like Eric. He's just slowly stumbling off the boat. But yes, he'll be walking down the gangplank.
Yes, some of Avelios's trusted aides have already tied up the ship. They've ran down the gangplank. They've already started offloading some of your gear. The next person to walk off is going to be Janice. Do you want to go ahead and describe your character for us?
Now, compared to the old man he's probably walking alongside, Janus is the opposite. He's a very tall man, probably about 6 feet tall, wearing full clad plate armor. There is no skin showing at all. He has a red cape along his back and a red plume atop his helmet. He has 2 curved horns protruding from either side of his helmet and 2 small slits for him to see through. Otherwise, he is a tall, plated man with just dirt covered all over him, whereas he has had no maintenance had to his armor.
Nice. So you two step off the ship, into the city. The dock is bustling with people. Everyone's just rushing left, right, and centre. It's kind of like midday. You've arrived just in time for the meeting if you head over quickly. And the first person you see is someone you probably recognise. I mean, you've definitely met Bellerook, but I'm not quite sure how much thought you've put into remembering them, especially you, Janus. But you do see. Just describe to me what they see, Bellerook.
Yeah, so they see a kind of mid-30s-ish orcish gentleman, and gentleman is definitely the word. This boy is a dandy. About 5'7"-ish, so kind of average height, but on the shorter side for an orc. He looks quite slender. He's dressed in quite extravagant clothes, very much meant and made for the city. Got kind of shoulder-length black hair, which is usually kind of worn up in a little kind of bun with a quill skewered through it to hold it in place. He's got the lots of kind of gold jewelry all over him, kind of in his hair, earrings, rings galore. He's very much kind of standing there waiting to be noticed.
Yes. So Avelios is, at this present time, he is busy divvying up the pay from this journey to all of his trusted aides and soldiers and guards and sailors. And so we'll be with you in a minute, hopefully. So yes, as I said, you've arrived just in time to make it to this meeting. And Bellerook, convenient, you do know the way. So what is the plan? What are you doing?
I would like to walk
Go for
over and very, very grandiosely kind of go, "Oh, welcome, welcome. I've been waiting for you. It's been some time and you look exactly the same."
Bellerook! Oh, what a pleasure! I see you made it down fine. Oh, come
Also,
here, and he gives him a pat on the side. Do
20 years or so?
Hmm?
Been 20 years or so?
yes, definitely a long time. Well, at least for you. But yes. I have you met Janus?
We met once,
Briefly.
briefly. Um,
Ah,
it's lovely to see you again.
State,
wonderful.
what is the purpose of us being brought here?
Well, I suppose we'll find out when we get there, won't we? Would you like to follow me? I know the way quite well,
Perfect.
Mm.
Thank you.
and I will happily jaunt my way over,
Wonderful.
walking slow enough that Eric can keep up.
With his bad posture. So you turn around and you walk off to the palace. You guys can kind of see it over the horizon. There's lots of large and tall buildings, but obviously the palace being the palace, you know, the royal building where the rulers of the city dwell, it is the biggest building. You can kind of see some of the domed roofs over some of the buildings. And you head through the city, passing loads of other people. Mostly at this time, it's like young, kind of like married women that are out browsing the markets, doing some shopping. And you see a lot of like working class men as well who are kind of busy, you know, pulling carts, traversing resources from one part of the city to the other. And you walk through the city, taking in all its glory and its divine, not divine, but you know, its glory and its wonderful scenery. And clearly, this is where most of the gold in the kingdom goes. You walk down what appears to be the main road. It's quite wide. It's where most of the people are for a good maybe 5-10 minutes before you get to where the palace is. It's like I said, a huge building. It looks almost kind of like a Buddhist church that we would know. It's large. It's got like domed roofs. It's got lots of pillars that are supporting it all around. It's got many different towers that are all completely different sizes, and they almost look like they don't fit together, but they just do. Like it just works, but it looks like it shouldn't. And it's surrounded by a little kind of like grassy verge that kind of comes up to the wall, and past that is just a large lake that surrounds the palace. And there is a large bridge that has currently been lowered, and Bellerook kind of leads you across it up towards a pair of guards that are currently stood there. And this would be a great time for me to show a picture of what the guards look like. So all soldiers in Aleria wear the same armor. Unless you're a general or of a higher rank, you wear white and gold with a few specks of silver. And if I can find where I've put this... Oh dear. I seem to have lost it. No, I have not. Here we go. So they all wear white and gold, and it's very fancy. It's quite extravagant, but in battles nowadays, you do kind of need to differentiate yourself from the enemy. So you're not, you know, attacking your allies and such. And this is very, very clear and distinctive. No demons are white and gold. So this is what the two guards look like. They are stood there, the two halberds, resolute. You can't see the faces by design. And you approach them. What are you doing?
Excuse me. We were summoned by the king. Is this the right place, Bellerook? Yes.
Yes. These fellows know me, don't you?
Yes, Bellerook, good to see you again. Yes, believe it or
You
not,
too.
this is the palace, the grandest building in all of the city, as he kind of like expresses with one of his hands. Anyway, yes, I believe the meeting has already begun. You are slightly late, but I'm sure the king will forgive you, as you are who you are.
Reasonably late.
He calls for another guard who kind of like quick walks in out of the doors and greets you. He's like, hello. I'll lead you to the doors. I'm not quite sure when they want you, but just kind of wait around there. Yep. He turns around and he quickly leads you through all the winding halls of the palace. He leads you through what appears to be kind of like the servants' corridors. You know, he doesn't lead you through the grand open doorways or the grand open hallways. He leads you through the small bits to get you there quickly. And he leads you to a large pair of double doors. They're really, really fancy, engraved with gold and jewels. And they're about 7 or 8 foot tall at their highest point in the middle. And he's like, just here. He puts his hand to his ear, where in his ear he's got a device that all guards use to communicate with each other. It's kind of, you know, just like a radio system, but more magical. And he says something into it. He's like, just give it a moment. They're in a heated discussion. The Queen will tell us when you want to enter. And he just stands by the door resolutely with his halberd and just waits.
So have you been in this position long? I don't think you all look exactly the same, but I don't recognize your voice.
Me? No. I'm new. I've been in the service of the palace for about half a year now. I'm enjoying it. It's wonderful. He sounds quite young. Obviously, you can't see his face, but he sounds, late teens, early 20s.
I'm sure you know, but name's Beloric. It's lovely to meet you.
Yes, I've heard of you. I've heard of you. And these other adventurers, and he kind of gestures. Evelios at this point has joined you, but as he's not here, he's just kind of slowly walking behind you, just kind of taking in the scenery, not really interacting too much until he
Oh,
arrives.
how?
We've lost someone.
This will
Oh,
probably happen
wonderful.
from time to time. He'll be back
Yes.
in a second.
Yep.
I imagine this is going to be a repeat occurrence.
Place your bets, everybody.
But,
Aleria.
but either way, the guard turns to the other two and he's like, I've heard of you. He looks a little bit confused at Janice. At least I've heard of you, Eric. You are a very, very famous person indeed.
You spend enough time alive, you do some things. It's nothing much.
Wow. You're the number one reason that we have managed to survive this long. I think you are downplaying it a little bit. Anyway, he puts his hand to his ear. The Queen will see you now. And he turns around and he wraps his halberd on the large double doors. And they start to swing open. And the first thing that hits you is a very large amount of noise from people talking over each other. And then the next thing that you see is this throne room. It's very, very big, and to the right and left there are rows of seats that go up that loads of people are seated on. They look quite rich and important, and you can presume they're maybe the council. They're in the process of shouting across the room at each other. Some of them are stood up, some of them are sat down, and they're busy just bellowing and arguing. And the far side of the room, there is a large raised platform about 10 feet in the air that's got a staircase that leads up either side. And in front of it is a statue of the king on a horse holding a sword high. And on the platform is the king's throne, which currently is empty, and the throne of the queen, who she looks quite old, but she looks something like this. I'll pop it up on screen for you now. As most as most of the royalty do, she has a jewel embedded in her forehead. It's a magical jewel. You're not quite sure of the purpose, but all royalty have some sort of jewel in their forehead. And she's currently sat in a chair with a head in her hands, looking very tired and weary, and just kind of done with this situation at the moment. And you can see that in her hand is one of these speaking devices that she has used to communicate and let you in. And as I said, these council members are just shouting across the room at each other. As you kind of glance and you look around the room, one of them strikes you as someone that you will have heard of. Someone else who is also, a legend and has done a lot for this kingdom. That will be Ivar. You are in one of the rows of the councilmen, busy shouting or not shouting. It is up to you. Do you want to describe your character?
You see standing, looking very stern-faced at the moment, and looking out at everyone clamouring in front of him. A dwarven man, broad as you would expect, in fairly well-kept military gear that denotes a higher ranking station. Instead of the white, it's the black and gold on his armor. He's resting his arms over the short banister in front of him. And you can see his the gauntlets on the back of his arms, underneath the skin exposed, tattoos and markings, runic and magical in nature. His face, he has a large tattoo of his house over his left eye, and a large blue streak in his braided black and white hair that comes down, also denoting that he has some sort of magical arcane connection. He has a very finely, well-maintained beard, braided into intricate patterns. And as always, at his side rests a prominent warhammer, in the head of which is embedded a intricate ruby. Yeah, he's staying quiet, but looks altogether miserable about what's going on in front of him. Just his eyes slowly panning back and forth, trying to pick out the loudest person at the room, occasionally sighing, and then will notice that you guys have been entered as the doors swing open, and he will make eye contact with Bellaruk, and then he just kind of very slightly shakes his head, and then goes back to looking at the mess in front of him.
As you step into the room over the blue tiled floor, the Queen kind of like looks up and brushes a little bit of the long grey hair out of her face. And you can see she opens her mouth and says something, but she's not loud enough to speak over the volume in the room at the moment. And she clears her voice and says, "Silence." And the room, after about 30 seconds or so, it's a little bit rude, a little bit too slow. Ivar, you would know as someone who is attending these meetings regularly that for the king they go silent instantly. For the queen it takes them a bit of time, but they do go silently. Do go silent. And the queen gestures kind of with open arms, and she's like, "The legends have arrived. Welcome to this discussion, if that is what we can call it."
A very big sweeping bow.
I take Bellaruk's lead and also bow down.
Jonas just gives a simple nod, and that's about it.
May we ask why we were asked to come here?
Yes, of course. It's a matter of great importance, really. As you can see, this throne beside me is currently sat empty. There's no real easy way to put this. The king's missing. He is gone. He's been abducted by the demons, we believe. And obviously, we need to get him back.
How does the
Hello.
room react to this news?
The room is currently silent. You know that this has been the point of discussion up until this point, so it's not any shocking news to anyone else other than the people that just entered.
How long has he been missing for?
Well, we don't actually know. He has long since slept in his own room. We believe at least... we believe at least a week, but it could be up to 2.
Do you know anything about the abductors?
Well, Councilman Firereach, you do know a lot more about the demons and the demon generals, if you could please tell everyone. And at this, she gestures to one of the councilmen in the room. Most of you recognise the name Firereach kind of as soon as she says it. He is the second most richest person in the kingdom, second to the king in the royal family. He is a tiefling. He's relatively old. He looks to be about kind of like late 40s, early 50s. Wearing a nice purple and gold robe, and he's got a little, small little beard, and his sideburns come down quite far. And he stands up. You can see as he stands up that he's surrounded by a lot of people that are kind of like looking up to him, and they're all looking at him with bright smiles, and they're kind of like nodding, and some of them are giving little claps to this councilman. And he stands up and he gives a short bow towards the Queen, and he turns to address the rest of the room. Yes, well, we found some interesting things at the scene of the crime. We believe that it is something to do with the demons. We found lots of evidence that leads towards this. We believe it may have been one of the demon generals. I'm sure you may have heard of them. There is Bjork the Crusher, General Kuros, Ikman the Devious, and Yagarath the Shadow. We do not know which one, but we know it is one of them. And that is about all we know. And we need you to find the king, basically. That is, he turns to the queen, I think, all of it. And the queen nods and he sits back down again.
And excuse me, what were those general names again? Just so I can remember them for later.
I'll just post them in the chat. There were Bjork the Crusher,
Yep.
General Kuros, Ikman the Devious, and Yagarath the Shadow. All demon generals that you have heard about. Yeah, that is the information he gives you.
And where was this scene of the crime? By the way, Your Highness, you have my deepest condolences. I'm happy to help. Yes, where was this scene of the crime, as you put it?
Well, he was taken from his rooms, and the unfortunate thing is, the servants, not realizing he was missing, did clean the scene of the crime quite thoroughly over the past week, which has made it quite difficult. But the four demon generals are the only people that we really know of who would be able to make this kind of journey deep into the lands of Aleria. So that is where we have come to this impasse. We have been discussing which general we think it may be, and that is kind of where this discussion has been going. There are quite a lot of people who disagree with each other, as I'm sure you may be able to tell.
If I may, Your Majesty, why
short one.
have we been summoned to do this? Is your guard not quite up to the task?
To face off against one of the generals. No, they are the strongest people in the land. As you know, even one of them may be a challenge for you. That is why we have summoned all of the strongest people. In some sense of the word.
So it's a fight that you're wanting rather than rescue?
We need a rescue, but you're the strongest people. You're the most capable people that we have.
Of course.
Do you have any idea how they could have got in with disguises or teleportation? Surely one does not simply walk into Aleria.
Well, you would think a demon would not be able to. However, that is seemingly what happened. Like I said, little evidence was left behind. There was no seeming break and entry. We are not quite sure how they got him, or even where, to be honest. We believe it was his room, as no one had seen him outside of his room. But it's a difficult question. We believe we just need to find someone who knows what's going on. And even if one of these four generals didn't take him, surely they would know something.
I'd like to give Ivar a look first of all, just to kind of like a raised eyebrow, and then walk a little bit towards General Farreach. Is that his name?
Councilman Farreach.
Councilmember Farreach. My apologies. And kind of
well.
do a little bit of like a lean against the wall, like to look up at him. And do so. If Her Majesty is saying that things have been cleaned and there's very little evidence? Where's the evidence that you mentioned? The bountiful supply of it, actually.
The evidence that I mentioned was in the magical sense. We cast some spells and detected the presence of evil within the king's room. It was not so much physical evidence.
Would you be able to perhaps show us where this was found?
Yes, I can show you after the meeting is over. I shall get one of
Perfect.
my underlings. He points at one of them at random. You can show them the king's room, I'm sure.
So who's the most highly suspect general so far then?
A councilman speaks up. Well, so far we've managed to rule out one. Yagarath the Shadow is obviously not on the list of people that could have done this, as he is currently locked up in the Black Cell. I've reconfirmed this with some of my contacts, and he has not left. He is still there. So obviously it cannot have been him. So that leaves the other three, and that is where the point of contention really is. We know that Bjork is always on the front lines. We know that Ikman the Devious is usually the commander and general of the front lines. No one's ever really seen General Chorus. We've heard he commands a ship. Councilman looks to Ivelios. The Hell's Gate, I believe. Ivelios gives kind of like a nod. He just performs raids along the coast. We don't really have any confirmed sightings of him. But we're kind of down to those three. Do you bring any new information or words of wisdom to this discussion before we break out into petty arguments again?
You see Ivar roll his eyes at this point. Just be like, anything but that. I know it's not exactly my place to be able to speak in this hall of esteemed colleagues, but how sure are we that true demonic influence has been found at the site where the king was taken?
As sure as we can be. We called in the best apart from you guys. The best that we could get. And they have confirmed it within as certain as we can be. And after all, who else would really have done this? Taking out our king takes out the main structure of the kingdom.
I want to disagree with someone of such high standing as yourself.
Then don't.
Right. I think it's probably about time that we maybe got on with things then. As much as I wish to hear the clamouring of dogs, I'd rather not spend any more time wasted in this chamber.
Councilman temporary guest Councilman Ivar. I guess that is what we should call you. Get on with what exactly? That is what this discussion is about. Where do we go? What do we do? Who do we interrogate? Who do we hunt down?
Well, that's what we're here for, isn't it?
We
Exactly.
is a very strong word, Councilman. But myself and my fellow companions, I'm sure will find out for you, as that is the reason we have been summoned and I have been allowed back in this court.
Yes, so what wisdom do you bring? Who do you think it could be? Where will you go? Who will you hunt down first? That is what we would like to know.
Well, I can only assume heading north would probably garner some sort of information, considering that's where the bastards hang out.
At this point, the Queen kind of pipes into the conversation. She's like, yes, I remember we have one of them in custody. Maybe we should speak to one of them. And Far Reach is like, I think heading north is a wonderful idea, actually. There's 2 generals up there, double the chances. I think we should speak to some of them.
So I wonder if we may also speak with the esteemed colleague who checked the room for magic, just to obtain a fuller account of what
Of
we're dealing
course.
with here.
Yes. We can summon them back to the palace. That should be no problem.
Thank you.
You tried to get any information out of Jaggeroth the Shadow.
Yagarath, the Shadow.
Jaggeroth.
Farreach responds, no. As the owner of the Black Cell, we cannot send anyone in there, unfortunately. Otherwise, he may escape.
And how do you know he's still there?
We have eyes on him.
I see, of course.
But for now, I would appreciate if we could see the room so that we could maybe have a look ourselves and see if there are any ways we can narrow down our options, gather information before we make a decision.
Yes, go on. Farreach sends the guy that he pointed to, and that guy gets out of his chair, walks down the steps, and kind of groups up with you all. Farreach turns to Ivar. Are you joining these adventurers? I know that you have always wanted such an opportunity. The strongest people banding together.
I think that would probably be for the best. My limited talents are wasted here.
I'm glad you said that. It would have been awkward if you didn't.
Yes, does the person that Farreach kind of sent with us, do they look like, happy to be babysitting us, or kind of a
Yes,
bit
he looks-
reluctant?
He looks. Do you want to roll? Do you want to roll an insight?
Yes, I can. Let
First
me
roll.
find my numbers.
First roll.
No pressure.
Imagine the first roll of a session of a campaign being an insight check. Should have thought about that a bit more, really,
Not
shouldn't
even
I?
stabbing anyone.
Yeah. No one's going to die at the
Imagine.
end of this. That's sad.
I haven't killed anyone yet.
Oh, it's been 20 minutes. Why is no one dead?
Where's all the dead civilians?
Well, might be, I suppose. I'm not ruling anything out yet.
You insight him. You think that he needs to die.
One solution. Sorry, give me a second. I'm struggling with numbers.
Yay, maths games!
Yeah,
We love
My
that.
one weakness. Hurry up.
Surely you have like a
Terrible
plus
or great?
20.
So my insight is really good. My dice rolling is not. And that is a big old 10.
Oh.
Hey.
It could be worse. So from what you're kind of getting looking at this guy, he seems to be just kind of someone, he sucks up to people more important than him. He seemed quite happy to get this instruction and just do Farreach's bidding, from what you can tell.
Okay, so I'm gonna introduce myself to this poor lackey, and see if I can get a name. All of them.
Sure, his name is Councilman Stevenson.
Delightful.
He is, from what you can tell, he's really a councilman just because he is part of a rich family. He's not really been doing this long. He doesn't really know what he's doing, from what you can gather. But anyway, he does come up and group with you all, and he goes to lead you out of the room as all the other council members start to speak as you leave the room and resume their discussion that they were having before you left. And you leave through the double doors. And Stevenson is like, right, well, it'll be this way. And he kind of points down the corridor and starts leading you off in that direction.
Please follow him.
I will bow to Her Majesty the Queen before I exit the chambers and then bugger off quickly after the others.
As you bow to her, you see the look on her face. It's slowly been getting worse throughout the kind of the whole council meeting. She's been looking more and more tired and more done. and as you leave, as you bow to her, she just kind of gives like a roll of the eyes.
Yeah, that kind of like, oh, I know, kind of look back to her, and I'm out. I got an
Nice.
excuse and I took it.
Yes, so Councilman Stevenson leads you through the palace grounds for about 10 minutes, past multiple sets of guards to a room which is it's a single door, a little bit smaller than the double doors. It's about 6.5, 7 feet tall. It's quite nondescript, really, considering he's supposed to be leading you to a king's room. And he opens the door and he kind of gestures inside. This is where you believe the king was missing from. And as he gestures you into the room.
I thank him, and then I would like to look around the room for any remnants of the king, be that hair, be that any like part of him.
You find his corpse.
Okay.
It's been sitting there the whole time.
Yes, so you head into the room. It's quite a small room, to be honest. It's mostly filled up with a large bed. There's one door that leads. There's one door is the door that you just went in and out, and there's another door in one of the walls. It's all painted blue with slight bits of gold here and there, but it's quite on the down low, a bit nondescript. And you can roll me an investigation if you would like.
Let's see.
What's everyone
That
else doing?
A
A
7.
7. What's everyone else doing during this investigation?
I would like
I
to do
would-
the opposite and look for any signs of it being meticulously cleaned. Well, not even meticulously, just cleaned at all.
You find some bleach and a cloth.
Just kind of check because they said that it had been cleaned fairly recently.
Yes.
So I just want to see if that correlates.
Yes, you can roll another investigation if you'd like. With your 7, you don't find any remnants, no hairs, no real any indication that the king has been here per se.
17.
Okay, so with the 17, you do see the subtle kind of strokes of a mop on the floor. The bed is obviously made. You can see that it's been patted down. Someone's taken the time to arrange the hangings from the four posts there to make them look perfectly symmetrical on both sides. You can see that the window, although it may not have been dusted recently, you see that it has been within the past week or so, been kind of like de-dusted, cleaned. It's been cleaned, and there are definitely signs that there has been some cleaning going on.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
That's what they pay the housekeepers for. They're very good.
Yes.
Janus is just going to lean against the wall outside the room and just not even bother investigating. He does not care.
Not my job.
Yep.
Okay.
Is there a wardrobe or something?
So if you're going around the one door in the room, you open it in, it is a large walk-in wardrobe.
I was hoping to find some hair or something like that, but it would make it easier. But I think this could do. I have an idea of how we can narrow down our options and maybe find out even perhaps where he is. Janus, could you just come over here, please? I've just got something in your backpack. And you see that Eric walks over to Janus. I imagine Janus just sort of squats down a little bit so I can reach into the bag. And out he pulls this sort of this crystal ball. And you see as soon as it's out of the bag, it sort of drops down and he quickly puts it onto the floor. He can't hold it for long. Eric is going to try and cast scrying.
Yep, pop the information into the chat for me so I can just give it a quick read.
Yes.
Is anybody else doing anything during this whole thing?
Well, after I caught up with them, I would probably whoever the councilman was, it Councilman Stevenson.
Yes.
I'd probably just give him a very stern look and say, "You can go now."
He kind of like he'd stood outside of the room, just kind of peering in, watching stuff happen. And as you say that, he gives a little kind of like start, and he's like, "Oh, do you not mean to lead you back?"
No, go away.
Okay.
No other
he
way.
Turns around and scuffles down back down the corridor.
And then,
Sleep
seeing
up.
as Janus is outside, say, "Very good to finally meet you, Janus. Heard a fair few stories.
Likewise. And
Probably
he
gonna
gives a
need-
slight nod.
Probably going to need some of your skills in what's to come."
Hopefully not.
Mm,
I'd prefer not to fight again.
I'm afraid this business seems altogether far too messy for this just to have been the demon's work, which is something I never thought I'd say. I suspect there's other things going on, but it's not my place to speculate.
I'd be inclined to agree.
And then I'm going to stick my head into the room as well and see what Bellaruk and Eric are doing.
So currently you do see Eric. He's kind of like kneeling down over this large crystal ball. It looks quite expensive. Trying to cast some sort of spell. And unfortunately it does not appear to be working. You can see the lightning crackling and things like kind of just about maybe start to form. Like some clouds start to cloud the crystal orb, and then they just dissipate into nothingness. As he tries to cast scrying, unfortunately to no effect.
And do I know why it failed? As in, is it because they're on another plane? Is it that he's somehow inaccessible? Yeah.
Is the magic
I
being
think-
blocked by something? Or...
I think you would know, as usually, even if it starts to, if you cast scrying, even if your target successfully kind of defends against it, you would start to see some shapes form in the clouds. But as you didn't see anything even like start to form, you can kind of just assume that it somehow couldn't reach the king.
Mm. That didn't look like it worked all too well.
No. So normally things come into a clearer picture, but it was as if I couldn't reach him at all. I don't know whether that's because if the demons are in another plane, if he's in another plane, or maybe somewhere that I don't know how, but maybe my magic can't reach somehow. But unfortunately, it was not helpful.
Does it still work for dead people?
I
Not that I want to assume or anything, just helps to cover all bases.
I don't know, to be honest. I've never tried. Hmm. Could I make a sort of arcana to see if I
Yeah,
would
go
know
for it.
at all?
Yeah.
That's an 18.
18. Level 9 character, and you've got no modifier on Arcana. That just
I've
feels
got plus
weird.
0.
With an 18, you would know that. Okay. Can you see dead people or not? I'm gonna say yes. You can see dead people. You believe as long as they still have some sort of physical parts of their body left, you would still be able to see those parts. Like you would see if like their skeleton in the grave, for example, if they still had one. If someone was burned or reduced to ashes, you would not be able to see them.
Oh, he's been incinerated. That's what you're trying to tell me.
Whether he's fine or decimated.
So he's either
I-
fine or he's not. Great. So we know
Yes.
exactly the same information.
Unfortunately, yes. We know nothing more.
Well, this is unfortunate. But I'm still glad to be out of that room. So,
How long had that arguing been going on for?
a couple of weeks.
Weeks.
It started with a lot less people, and then as they brought more people in that they would want to give the information out to, it basically just got louder and louder in there. Oh, not continuously. In session, I mean.
See,
No, we weren't. No,
sure.
yeah, they weren't just in there for. Like, anyway, so it doesn't look like anyone's broken into this room. Doesn't look like anyone's broken out of this room. No one died trying to defend the king. No one even really knows when the king disappeared specifically. This is just. It's daft.
Isn't it quite suspicious that the king started sleeping by himself and not with his wife?
That's suspicious.
That's a
Really?
little personal. I'd rather not want to pry into that situation whatsoever, but it could be deemed as suspicious. If they wanted to separate him out to be on his own so he could be an easier target, that would make sense. Or maybe
It's-
things aren't just, going so well.
It's definitely suspicious, the lack of information.
Absolutely.
I tend to doubt the security of the city, actually.
I mean, it's not even just the city, it's of the royal quarters. There's
Mm.
people stationed outside this room pretty much all the time, at least when the king's in it.
Should we?
Sorry, you two have obviously just arrived, but oh, sorry, you three have just arrived. Ivar, how long have you been here in the city so far?
I was called a little while ago, and I arrived a little over a week ago.
Did you catch the king's last address?
Afraid not.
Just wondering.
Maybe,
It's been a while since we've heard from the king himself.
maybe
Yes.
it would be helpful if we talked to some people individually when not in a big room with their colleagues.
I mean, depends who. Don't know what good any of those lot are going to be to anyone. They're not even any good for themselves. Did you not hear them in there?
What about
Mind talking to these cleaners?
Yagara?
Well, speaking to whoever may have cleaned the room would be probably quite a good idea. If anything noticeable was in the room when they arrived, I'm sure they'd remember it, especially after being told, oh, by the way, His Royal Highness isn't here anymore.
Also, it would be interesting to know who told them to clean the room.
Oh, I like that. Yeah, that's good. And then speaking to this demon general who's locked himself away in his little black box. I don't know what results it'll yield, but give it a go.
Why did they decide to lock him up and not just kill him?
Hmm.
Who thought it would be a good idea to let a councilman own the prison? Really?
There's not really a lot people can say when it comes to that specific councilman. He has very far-reaching influence.
Well, they can say it. It's just whether or not they'll be listened to.
Well, if you speak too
Someone's
loud,
speaking.
bad things can happen to you.
Very familiar. Must be people. Surely, I mean, he can't be liked by everybody. Look at him.
I mean, you'd be surprised.
He has a lot of money as well. Of course, everyone's going to like him.
No. They pretend to like him. There is a difference. If we
Well,
can catch people alone, perhaps opinions differ.
well, it might be a battle of silver tongues then, if they can deceive us, or if you can break into their, break past that hidden demeanor of theirs. That would be interesting. But we have to find them first, whether or not they'll be willing to speak to us on their own. Now that, well, everyone knows everything.
For now, what should be our first course of action?
Maybe start dragging some of those folks out of the council chambers and seeing what we can find out. I'd rather save the fun stuff for later. Not particularly looking forward to speaking to one of the generals of the other side.
Fair enough. Well, should we make our way back to the council chamber and wait for the meeting to be over?
Aye. Don't know how much longer they'll be at it, though. Maybe we could get some food before then.
Agreed.
Such a one-track mind diver.
Okay, so you are heading back where? Are you going to get food? Do you want to go back to the council chambers, the throne room?
Probably back to the throne room, council chamber bit where everyone's shouting.
Mm-hmm.
And if possible, could we try and get like a sense of when things might start winding down and we might be able to start grabbing people as they come out the room? Just, you!
Wake them off.
Sure thing. So roll
Janus in.
roll a I'll just roll a quick history, I guess. With advantage.
Ooh, baby.
It's like a
You know,
claw
as well,
machine.
like after the generally after like council meetings, do people kind of just disperse and go home, or do they, kind of gather at the pub to discuss the gossip, or
So I'll
is there
tell
like an etiquette for afterwards?
I'll tell Ivar, and Ivar can tell you. So Ivar, in your experience, the council this council meeting had just started before the people arrived about 20 minutes ago, and usually they do go on for many hours, usually about 4 to 5. So as far as you know, some of them gossip outside of the throne room, like some of them stay kind of like in the corridor and have a few passing comments, or just consolidate some ideas with each other after the meetings. But usually they just go home and retire for the evening after shouting themselves hoarse. The honey business is very lucrative in this side of town.
And I will say to the others, well, if they're standing around outside after things have finished, what they've got to say usually isn't all that important. They just want to be seen looking important. It's the conversations that are held out of sight and out of earshot. Those are the good ones. I've yet to be invited to any of those. And he gives a very annoyed smile. But I'm sure we can find whoever has the most furrowed brow and pull them to one side and ask them very, very nicely if they know anything interesting.
Well,
Since
should
I
we go?
imagine that he's not a particularly popular target amongst us, perhaps.
Well,
If anybody would like me to go and try and talk to Councilman Farreach, then I will gladly see if I can.
if there's anyone who will give you a run for your money, it's the Councilman Farreach.
What do you mean by that, friend?
I'm sure you'll find out. But we do have some time to kill. They've only really just started in there. Poor Queen. So, may as well go and get comfortable somewhere nice, rather than standing around here.
Have you got any recommendations?
It depends on your tastes. I'm probably not the one to ask, and then I just look directly at Bellaruk like, go on then.
Oh, and I would like to just spiel off a bunch of places
Mm-hmm.
that I have loitered in.
Yes, you
Loitered.
have loitered in every possible place that is loiterable. There are many good high-end restaurants in here. Quite a lot of them do different types of cuisines. Just name something and it'll probably be here.
I would like, and is ideally somewhere it's like not really bad. Like I would like a place that's kind of worthy of us to be seen in that. Somewhere where it's kind of inhabited and occupied and worked by kind of very ordinary people.
Yeah,
It's
definitely. There's a
possible
couple of
to find,
places
like
like that in the in this kind of part of town, of the capital. There's a couple of inns. There's a pub. There'd be like what's the word? Where like an army club, but not for like for retired people. What's the word for that? Retired army, a veterans club. A veterans club. The veterans club. There's quite a couple of places that kind of fit that specification.
A lot of places where Janice would be welcomed.
Yeah.
He just walks in the place. It's just like, yeah.
Yeah.
Beef, everyone!
It's Janice.
His demeanor completely changes.
My people.
It's all the boys. Right.
Basically, like an old Raffer association or something, where it's like where all the old retired officers are all like, rah, 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 rah.
in my day,
Basically, everyone just complains
he
at
wouldn't
that.
go missing.
Yeah, back in my day, I would have done it like this. The king would never be abducted on my watch. Rah, rah, rah.
Yeah.
Is it bingo time by any chance?
When are the horses on? Well, that sounds perfect. Let's go there. It's a short walk.
You want to go to the Veterans Club?
Yeah.
Okay. So you leave the palace, you head over this large bridge into the main part of town. The Veterans Club is kind of on the edge of the rich part, as after all, retired military veterans aren't really kind of thought of happily. They don't get very many benefits after they retire from battle, sadly, but it is what it is. But you can head over there. It takes you about 30 minutes to walk through the bustling streets. A couple of people do recognise some of you. You have a few young children come up to you and kind of like pat you and be like, "Oh my God, it's Ivar, it's Bellerook, it's Eric." None of them really recognise Janice that much. Mainly because you're just a person wearing armour. It's you don't have your signature thingy out, I would imagine, at all times. Your signature sword. But you head over, and this place is literally just called the Veterans Club. It's just a kind of standard like stone and wood style building, like stone first floor, wooden second floor. It's got just kind of a small sign just swinging in the wind outside. I've just realised the bloody music hasn't been on this whole time. Wonderful. Well, there we go. There's always some things that go wrong. But yes, what are you doing?
Going in, I assume.
I would have
Bursting
thought so.
in.
No, just linger outside.
Me! You're welcome!
So you enter into the Veterans Club, and as you open the door, some kind of like smoke starts to come out, and as you look in the room, it's quite cloudy, and there's lots of old, battle-scarred men. Most of them still wearing kind of like their armor and their garbs. Like some of them are still wearing like their gauntlets or their greaves, just kind of like as a remembrance kind of thing. Some of them still have some of their badges. Some of them still have their weapons at their side, and most of them are just sat around smoking on a pipe, eating some kind of like soup of some sort with an ale in one hand, and they all just are complaining at each other basically, and just having old man talk. So, what do you do?
Probably push Janus in. Just be like, go on, you first.
Janus just sighs and just walks in immediately and finds the most desolate table possible and just sits down quite clumsily and then rests up his gear alongside the table.
The unfortunate thing, being a veterans club, is every single person in this club, when they walk into a bar, they look for the most remote table. So all of the most remote tables are currently filled, but you can get kind of like a second rate or a third rate most retired table. You can sit
Ow.
down.
It's like right in front of the bar.
Short walk to the drinks.
It's kind of like right by the stairs that lead to the second floor. It's quite out of the way, but obviously being the stairs there, people are probably going to walk past relatively often. So yes, that is what you see. That is where you sit.
Straight to the bar.
Currently, there's no one at the bar, but as you walk over to it, there is someone that you see. He was kind of leaning down with one of the groups, one of the veterans. He was kind of perched on a little stool, kind of just outside of the group. He looks over, he's like, he mumbles something to the group, and he gets up and he walks over. And as he walks back behind the bar, he's like, "You customers, hey, not seen. You look a bit familiar, mate. Actually, now that I think about it, have you been here before?"
No.
Oh.
I'm going to walk up to where Ivar is at the bar, kind of. You're shorter than I am, so kind of kind of elbow on your shoulder or something, and kind of
Right in my face. It's like,
insert myself into the insert myself into the conversation.
As you do that, the grizzled bartender kind of looks at you and looks even a little bit more confused. You're like, "You look a little bit familiar as well, laddie."
I should hope so. Have you not seen my face before?
please just order a drink this time.
I think I have, but like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Have you been here before? Like, I don't.
Popped in a few times, but I tend to hang around near the.
Give me the first letter of your name. I'll remember.
There we go. It's a B.
Benjamin.
Shut up.
Bartholomew. You're Bartholomew, ain't you?
So close, sir. So close. It's Bellaruk, actually.
Bellaruk. Bellaruk. Yes, I remember you. I remember you indeed. You're the legendary bard.
You came to my my most recent show, didn't you? I believe I recognise you too.
Not your most recent one. Wife was sick. I had to stay at home with the kids.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
You know how it is, man.
Mm.
Yes. What can I get for you? On the house. Drinks are on the house for you tonight. And your friends. He kind of looks
Very
around at
kind.
the rest of the party. Wow.
Very
This
kind
is a
of
very interesting party you have here. Everyone seems to be someone of importance. Free drinks for you all.
Very kind of you. We'll spread the word that.
Before we spread the word, let's have a slight reshuffling of things so the stream isn't broken. We'll take a small 5-minute break. Wait, no, actually.
Greetings, all.
Greetings. We shall take a small 5-minute break so people can just go to the bathroom and
Thank
such.
And then we can jig some things around and make everything look pretty.
And in that time, I will jig some things around and we'll come back. Let's say we'll come back at, let's just say 20 past, right? If you can leave your webcams on and just mute, just so I can shuffle things around properly.
Yeah.
That would be wonderful.
No problem.
He moves.
So maybe I should stop streaming my black screen.
Yeah, I
Yes,
was wondering why you've been streaming a black screen.
because I needed it.
It was the space filler.
Right.
Oh,
You're there. Oh, it seems like everyone might have actually. Oh no, that's me twice. Oh dear.
No, not
Oh.
double DM.
I've got to see myself twice.
I did try.
I'm gonna go grab some snackies and go to the toilet.
Sounds good.
I'm going to eat my snackies.
There we go. Okay, I'm going to switch it to the Be Right Back screen and we'll resume at about 20 past. And welcome everyone back. We have our 5th player now. Not Apocalypsian. Apocalypsian's been here the whole bloody time.
Regretfully. Unlucky, you guys.
We have Arcanist. Their names start similar in-game and out of game. It's going to be hell. Anyway, so
that it is.
just before the break, the party had spoken with the council. The king's missing. Basically, a bunch of stuff with demons. They've headed to a retired veterans bar to do some discussing or interrogating. I'm not quite sure which. But now that our 3rd character here, Avelios, I'll just give you a little bit of an information about what happened, Avelios. So you landed in the port. You paid all your crew for that journey that you just took. They've all kind of gone off to enjoy their time on land that they get. They do big journeys and then they get a good amount of time on land so they can spend the money that they've made. And you were with the party during this whole conversation, and you are all now in this retired veterans bar. So, do you want to just give us a kind of introduction to your character and tell us what they look like?
Yeah, sure.
And we'll go from there.
Not a bother. So, Ivelios is a half-elf of high elf descent. He's got very piercing blue eyes, and his hair's pulled back into sort of a long ponytail. He's got kind of a very jaunty air to him, and is often seen like giving just sort of a smile just out of one corner of his mouth. He's got a beautiful rendition of a waistcoat over a formal shirt, which has like sea and kraken designs sort of on the shoulders and around where it clips what would be the sleeve on a full jacket. And slung low across his hips is a very well-worn belt, still polished, nice leather with a selection of alchemicals and different potions. There's a couple of empty bottles on one side that he always keeps with him, and a long rapier at one hip, which appears to be made out of like finely wrought glass. And he's just been trailing along at the back of everyone so far, just sort of keeping an eye out, listening, nodding when appropriate.
Doing good old rogue things.
Exactly. Eyes and ears open, my friends.
Yes. There's just a little picture of Avelios on screen, and we will resume in the Veterans Club. So, what are you doing? Why are you here? Why have you come here? Even I don't know. What's the plan?
Priorities, first of all. I'm gonna order like a round of drinks for everybody since
Oh no.
the bartender seems to like me. So, yeah, and I'll take those back over. They're all set.
Yeah, he quickly pours you some ales with a practiced and well experienced hand, and he hands them to you. He's like, enjoy your drinks. If you want any food, if I can do anything for you, all right, just let me know.
Of course, and likewise. And I'll return to the table, like, sweeping Ivar along with me.
Yeah, fine.
So, Ivar, is the situation common knowledge in the city yet, or is it still very much
Oh no,
under
it's
wraps?
very closed doors. That would be
Okay.
not great if everybody knew.
Yeah. So people wouldn't know about the situation here, but they might know about some things that have happened in the last couple of months, if at all.
Well, it'd probably all just be rumours anyway by that time, unless people are told very pointedly. It's all just rumours. But I mean, you are talking about the king, right? I'm not.
Yeah. Yes. Yes.
No,
Trying
no
to
one knows.
keep
no
it
one knows
under
anything
wraps.
about what goes on in the courts,
Ah. Okay. I see.
unless they want them to.
Mm.
This is an interesting development because the last few speeches that the king has delivered, last few addresses, have been written yours truly. The most recent one was not delivered with his usual panache, and it's been rumored, potentially noticed, I think is more accurate, but it wasn't the king delivering that speech.
Ooh, you have
Oh,
something else to say about this? You mean someone in the appearance of the king might have been speaking in his stead?
you.
All I can say is that he really didn't do my speech justice. People have started noticing my reputation is on the line, which, quite frankly, I'm not happy about. And it's honestly, I'm shocked that at least they couldn't find a better actor to match him.
So, are you saying for sure that you know it wasn't him, or that he just wasn't on his normal form?
Well, can't say for certain, but he's usually very consistent. And I was disappointed, Riley.
When you create these speeches, do you create it alone? Do you create it in conjunction with him? Does he have any input on what is said?
Oh no.
Usually I get given a brief, some bullet points to cover, that sort of a thing.
By who?
He has the personality of a flannel.
Let's just say Belleruk's impression of the king is good enough for him to not actually have to speak to him at all.
And who gives this brief of the things to touch?
Who gives me the brief?
Usually just one of his aides.
One of his aides.
We didn't cover all bases with these backstories, and you've written 3,000 damn words. Damn it!
I failed. I'm sorry. I'll do better.
We tried so hard. Well, you
Not so far.
No,
did.
we'll get copyright struck.
Yes, that's why I stopped quite quickly.
It all does seem to be adding up in a strange way. It's been a couple of weeks since he's last given one of his own addresses, at the very least. And well, since before I was really aware of what was going on, I heard rumours that people were being sent out to look for this higher value target, which I'm only assuming now is the king, being sent out to wade deep into enemy territory to try and get this thing back. So,
Do you know what happened to them?
well, they're not here anymore, that's for sure.
Never any communication.
It all just stops after a certain point, and then it's assumed that they failed, and then more were sent. Oh,
Gage is dying.
One of the old people in the corner just...
yeah,
The smoke
one of the
stops.
veterans. No, wrong pipe, guys.
Who gave me that bad stuff, lads?
Who bought this round? Kill him! Fight.
He punches one of the patrons and they take it outside quite quickly. Oh,
Evelios just smirks just from where he sat at the table.
yes, it
I
was quite a
poisoned
funny
him.
bit.
That man's going to die. So
Well, what can
yeah,
I say?
it's, and I'm not talking about just any normal band of soldiers. I'm talking about people of high regard, people who have serious years of experience behind them, many combat encounters, all
People
being
with
sent away,
reputation.
all disappearing. Well, not quite the level of you lot, of course, but still.
Belleruk.
Did they bring us? Did they bring us here to be the next ones to be sent out? Because I don't like the sound of that.
They don't really have the kind of sway over you that they have over people who are employed by the crown.
I'm straight they don't. I'm not going.
But, as you
I
can
am-
tell, they are suggesting we do something about it. And
Yes.
Councilman Farreach was very happy when I suggested we go north.
Which should suggest that it's not perhaps the easiest course of... Perhaps it is the easiest course of action for us. Doesn't necessarily mean it's the right one.
Well, when we were coming down from the north, me, Janus, and Arcanist, things definitely seemed more powerful. Now, at the time, I thought that was just sometimes things are easier, sometimes things are harder, but definitely something growing,
was a
regardless of the king.
It was a struggle.
So, things are getting a little bit more hectic. The demons are rallying for some reason, and, well, a certain someone has gone missing.
Was Councilman Farreach the one who was sending off these employees, as you put it?
He has a certain way about the council chambers that means that when he says something needs to be done, it usually ends up happening. Her Majesty the Queen is a little against the odds without her husband around, so he has been running the show.
A little too much, I believe. I feel like we should talk to the Queen. Perhaps
Oh,
she has some thoughts. Is
good
that
luck.
okay? Is she often kept alone?
Not particularly, but now that one royal has gone missing, you don't think they're going to just let anybody go and see the other.
Clearly
Oh,
let it happen the first time.
Well, it's not for me to say, but
Why I'm here.
Even with your, legends preceding you, it's going to be hard for you to be able to get to face-to-face arrangements with her, unless you're doing it in front of all the other council members.
Which sort of defeats the purpose. No?
Exactly, because if you're speaking in the council room, Councilman Farreach is going to be there too.
Then maybe we need to get him to think that we're on exactly the same wavelength as he is. Ivor, I love you, but he hates you,
Oh yeah,
and nothing is spoken in your proximity.
it's not just him either. Everyone in there doesn't really like me.
Noted. But the point being that perhaps he'd be a bit more willing to talk to someone who was like-minded, who did let him talk.
Even if we can't get him to talk, we can always make him talk. And as he says that, Janus puts a potion of truth or truth serum on the table.
It's like, dagger? No. Sword? No. Axe? No. Oh, potion. Of truth!
If Elios leans in immediately and begins studying it, he's like, ooh, potions.
Just takes a little sip. That's pretty good. It works!
It is a potion that you recognise, Avelios. However, it's not one that you have made personally.
Yeah, not one of my personal concoctions.
No.
I'd at least give it some sort of flavouring.
Everyone knows that truth serum tastes best when it's cinnamon flavored.
I've
Hard
had
to
this for
swallow
years,
otherwise.
so I don't know how effective it will be.
It's gone off. Are you suggesting that you speak to him, Bellaruk?
Well, I was thinking less speak to him and more let him land
him
himself in
talk.
problems.
And get himself into trouble by doing so?
Works for me.
Well, it works for me too, surprisingly. He might not be as easy to crack as you think. He's been doing this a long time. Probably more than double your age.
Well, I've been one to turn down a challenge.
and I am not the one to stop you from trying, so just be
I'll
careful.
tag along. If it's talking, I'll tag along. It's one of my hobbies.
Just don't intimidate him. There's two of you and one of him. He might be a little bit defensive. I mean, that's just standard warfare.
Not sure if Elias could intimidate anybody if he tried.
What are you saying?
Nothing.
If
Saying you don't
Elios
look
is
very
probably
tough.
well short. If Elios is well shorter than Beleric as well, right?
I mean,
How tall is Velios?
yeah.
Velios is just under 6 foot. He's like towards the top end of 5 feet tall.
It's probably going to be very similar.
Except he's nowhere near as broad.
Thurrock is a small orc.
Alaric's a dandy. That's what we.
Both of
found
them
out
trying to look
today.
really, really impressive in their chairs. Like,
Yeah.
Let's just say Beleric has
Velios
the
does shoot him
shoulder
a dirty
pads
look.
in his outfit.
But we're not going to get anywhere by just sitting here and squabbling. We might as well give it a shot and talk to him, even if one of us does it.
Well, there's a bit of time before the session is finished. May as well spend it doing something actually enjoyable, like eating. And he gets up and goes back over to the bar.
Janus will also go to the bar.
Yeah, okay. You go over to the bar, and the guy who was there before, he gets up from his little table, and like he's over at the bar before you've even like got halfway across the room. He's straight out. He's like, yeah. What can I do for you, gentlemen?
Food, please.
Yes, of course. We have the special. He reaches down for some bowls and pulls them up, and then he walks into the back and pulls a large pot that's steaming. He drops it on the desk, and he starts ladling out some. It's like a broth into each thing. He plates them up with some bread next to them and the little bowl on the plate, and he's like, "There you are," and he starts bringing them over to your table.
And I will fish out a couple of silver coins.
Don't even worry about it. You guys, you don't need to pay here.
How much would it cost to get everyone in the tavern a drink?
flashing the cash
He's a
already.
quick head.
Yeah.
He kind of he stood up. He's like, all the usuals are here. 25 copper.
Take a gold.
No, you sure?
Janus basically like forces it in his hand and like makes him close his hand.
Breaks a knuckle or two.
Thank you.
Hold of the gold.
Thank you, sir. If I may ask, all of these people are very prestigious, but I don't believe I recognise you by your armour alone. I'm sorry, but who are you?
Yeah, it's just Janus. That's about it.
His mouth kind of drops slightly, and he just thanks you repeatedly for the gold, and he bows slightly, and he's like shaking your hand and all sorts. And he goes back to his table and just starts telling them all about you.
I touched him. I really touched him.
Yeah, you see him go back. He's like holding the hand that touched you like this. He's like,
Never gonna wash this gold piece again.
yes.
Getting mounted on the wall.
Family heirloom.
Yeah.
He probably
The
killed someone
gold
with this gold
piece.
piece.
Killed 3 men with this gold piece.
He's like John Wick legendary.
Yes.
But yeah, Janus will go back, sit down at a table, and get on with it.
Yes.
Shoveling.
You devour the food and the bread. It's all decent quality, not the highest that you could find in the city, not by a long shot, but you know, it's definitely better than the rations that you'd find on the front line. The broth is good. The bread is just bread. The broth has a little something to it. It's got a little spice, a little flavour. You devour it in like, I don't know, 20 or so minutes. Are you having more conversation, or are you going back to the councilman, to the throne room? What's the plan?
As soon as it's like realistic that we're going to be able to maybe drag a couple of people aside, or like when the session's finished, probably head back out towards the.
You do remember at this point that the point of this meeting was to get some input and some decision from the legends about what they were doing. So you kind of think, you're like, maybe if we go and make a decision, then the council meeting might be over. That kind of comes to mind a little bit.
I'll do it.
Other than that, you
before
would
we
probably be
leave
waiting
the-
about 3 or 4 hours. About 3 hours. 3 hours, 10 or so minutes longer for it to be finished. Sorry, Hal.
Sorry, I was just before we leave the tavern, I would like to and just kind of sit up, aim myself at go over the bartender's like little table squad.
Yep.
I kind of sit down next to him, put my arm around his shoulders, and be like, "So, did anybody hear the latest speech that he gave?"
They all kind of look at you, and they're all in a pretty good mood because the bartender's just gone over and told them all about who you are. And they're like, your latest speech? Whose latest
My
speech?
latest speech. The week ago or so, I just wondered the king hardly seemed on task. Just
Bloody hell,
it was
that.
my speech, and I just wanted to check that it wasn't my reputation being damaged here. What did you think of it?
None of us have been to a king's speech since he decided that we weren't getting any extra pay for our retirement. Honestly, bloody bastards in charge, eh?
Right. Interesting though. Like, they just not appreciate you.
Aye, that's what it's like. They don't appreciate us veterans. They only appreciate us when we're doing something for them. They'd
Know that
prefer if
feeling.
we died on those front lines, I'm telling you.
When was the last time you got anything from him?
Never. Oh, we've lost him.
No,
Who have we lost? Oh no,
either.
we've lost Ivar.
Back.
I was doomed.
We never get anything from that man, honestly. It's a waste of bloody time.
Ever even speak to you, or does he delegate?
Well, I mean, I've never got a medal from him. He kind of looks around the rest of the group, and they all kind of shake their heads. No, we get the medals from some of his underlings. Yeah, no, we've never really even spoken to the guy, to be honest. Serve him 10 bloody years, and that's what you get, eh?
Ungrateful, quite frankly, isn't it?
Overhearing this, Janus his mood seems to dampen and get a bit solemn.
Yo, Ivar, are you here?
He keeps dying.
Okay.
Ivar glitching in the corner.
Just fading in and out of existence. The camera's all fixed when he's back. It's not that the camera's
That
matter
seems
that
like a
much.
wizard thing.
That was unusual.
Ooh, welcome back.
Thank you.
What were you saying? Sorry, Hal?
Just one more thing, and then I'll leave you fine fellows to your evening. Who was it that gave you those medals, and who of everyone? I'll see if I can put in a word for you. Who's already on your side?
On our side.
Who's the one giving you the medals, giving you some recognition, the recognition you deserve?
Oh, I don't even remember who it was, to be honest. It was, I think it was just one of his squires, really. The whole big ceremony for it on the front lines and everything, and just don't even think he told us his name. Don't
Well,
even think he told us his bloody name. He takes
there's
a big
gratitude
puff on
for
his
you, eh?
pipe and just puff. Aye.
Well, you've got appreciation in me, my friends, and I will hit the table kind of a few times and start the first line of like one of the military songs that I have done in the past,
Yeah,
and see if I can kind of get them going a little bit. Then I'll
sure. Roll performance.
yeah.
This is what
Across
I'm
the
good
room,
at.
Velios is rolling his eyes.
Why are you throwing him under the bus like this? Bards don't perform.
Nah.
I don't know where my stuff is. There we go. Performance. So that is an 18.
Yes, so you bang on the table. It takes them a few moments to kind of realise the song, but after you do, they all start banging their ales and their mugs on the table, and they all start singing with their rough, kind of like throaty voices. One of the old songs. It's about marching and marching into the front
Yeah.
lines, defending the wall, that kind of stuff.
For a name of the song, if that's any help.
Ooh.
It's called. Got no lyrics yet.
I love it.
It's called Old Tough Boots.
Yes.
Wonderful.
Yeah, it's like, a complaining song, one that these guys would know.
Yeah.
And as they're kind of getting into it, I'm gonna head back over to our table and be like, let's leave.
Before it
Can you
gets too
not
rowdy.
leave a place without making everyone else sing?
No, he can't.
No, I can't.
All right.
Would you rather they all knew where we went, or?
Fine. So, as I'm getting up and leaving, what's our decision? What do we want to do first? What are we going to tell the council?
Something they want to hear, I imagine.
As always, with those in charge.
About that, wouldn't you? Captain of Helios.
Well, at the moment, we have no concrete evidence against any of the councilmen, other than a hunch.
Hmm.
So, I have a feeling that we've just got to go along with the council's wishes and take down these generals.
To start, at least.
Yes.
Could always say that we're gathering our equipment and moral fibre before we head north.
You have
Satisfy
friends.
them, buy us some time.
We could guise our true intentions by saying that we would be approaching some of the council members for any aid or assistance that they may be willing to give us, but we will be doing so in private so as not to generate some sort of negative
not
discourse amongst the others. Don't want to
We'd like
There
to
is-
contain gossip
there is no
and
need for
stop the
panic.
situation getting out of hand. Precisely.
Exactly. Just quietly approaching individuals, asking them for assistance or aid, and then leaving it at that. If they say yes or no, that's up to them. And then, of course, we can get you involved with the councilman.
I agree with that. I think
Sorry.
we should talk to them first.
Agreed. And if we need any excuse, then the Demise and its crew need some downtime anyway. So, should we wish to sail north, we have a valid delay. As it
Gives us some good pace. Be able to do things at our own speed.
exactly.
Let's head back then and inform them of the plan.
Okay. So you are heading back to the council. I keep saying the council, but it's the throne room. They're holding the council in the throne room. Sometimes I get like a thought stuck in my head, and I always call it that, even though it's not that. And every time I say it, I always get it wrong. Anyway, yes, you head back to the throne room. It's another 20-25 minute walk. And you head back. The guards kind of nod at you. The two that you met previously, as you entered, they nod at you. They're still on the same shift, and they just let you walk right on in. You navigate your way to the double doors, and are you just opening them? Or are you just walking in?
Yeah,
think
we're
we're
doing
walk-
the Aragorn in Lord of the Rings where you just straight
Yes.
through the doors.
Love
A
it.
little dwarf walks in.
Except it's small. Yeah.
Yes.
Always big buttons behind me just.
Yeah, you put a
I
hand
also
on
cast
each of the doors.
prestidigitation as we open it, just to kind of make it echo a little bit into the chamber. If they're already arguing, just to kind of shut them up a little bit.
Go for it. So you place a hand on each door and you open it, and as soon as it opens even a little bit, the first thing you hear is a shout. It sounds like it's from Councilman Farreach, and he's saying, "We must send them north." And then the echoing, grating noise of the doorway opening silences the whole room as they turn to look at the new people entering. And then Councilman Firereach is like, here they are. Right, what is your decision? What have you been up to? You've been gone long. It has been an hour and some change.
And far.
I'm going to make a very notable point of looking from Councilman Farreach and just turning my attention entirely to the Queen and then doing a very, very strict military bow and giving her the respect, and then just turning back and looking back at him.
If Elios is following him like 2 steps behind and does exactly the same thing, but it's a courtly bow from the waist.
Yep. Lovely.
We have decided to stay for a day or two whilst we conduct some interviews in private to ascertain more information about the situation. Then, should all be successful, after that, we would hope to head north.
As you started that, this is me as the DM explaining what's going on. So as you started that and said you were staying there, there was a big kind of collective groan from the left-hand side, which is where Farreach is at. And Farreach just kind of like, he starts to say something, and then when you continue it, they all seem a little bit more happy. Yes, you can go on.
It is not a good idea to go into a situation knowing nothing about what has happened, and as you have clearly indicated, the circumstances of the disappearance are not yet known. So, in private, we will be discussing with people as to what they know. Hopefully, you will get summons, and we will explain more when we meet. Any questions? Anything to add? Looking at everyone else.
We will be petitioning people for any aid that they will be willing to give, as we are going to be doing something fairly dangerous, as one can assume. So, in private, we will be asking for those that can give to give.
So as Farreach, as you had said that you were going to head north, Farreach sat down kind of like slowly, feeling a bit happy. And as soon as he finished that, he stands up. Good fellows, I can arrange you some accommodation to conduct these interviews, and as the treasurer of this kingdom, all that I own is yours. If you need any purchases or anything that might aid you on this trip, you can go through me. I will purchase anything that you might require. It is
very kind of you to offer these services.
Yes, I know. It is wonderful that you are heading north. You must slay every demon you come across and find the king.
If he's still alive.
Well.
And what I would like to do is wait for specifically his reaction.
Insight.
He says in a lower tone, he says, well, and he just kind of shrugs.
Okay.
Can I roll insight on that?
You can.
19.
You see that he shrugged.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, you don't see anything that might indicate that he was being deceptive. It just seemed like a natural reaction to the comment that Beleric just made.
I'd probably look at the Queen at that point and be like, "Oh, poor choice of words in front of Her Majesty."
Fair point, actually. Did the Queen react to it?
Not really. She's kind of like just head on the side of her throne, just kind of almost eyes covered. She's got one eye peeking out towards you.
I was going to say, has she fallen asleep?
And not quite. The hair is kind of just like falling down over her arms, and she just looks completely just done with it all. But as you said that, she kind of like speaks up and she's like, "My husband is not dead. I would know if he was, and I don't believe he is. We will find him somewhere.
Of course we will.
Adventurers, I've prepared a room for you at the Golden Swan, the finest inn in town. And I believe this adjourns this meeting. She kind of like looks around at everyone, and everyone kind of mumbles and nods and kind of like agrees with that. She says, "Wonderful," and she pushes herself up off the chair, and walks behind her to where there is a servant that kind of like helps her and holds her as she walks back behind the throne room through a set of doors that presumably lead to some sort of royal quarters or somewhere like that. But yeah, I think that's where we'll probably finish today. We have 5 minutes left, so we'll just end with some ending comments. Thank you to everyone who was watching today. I'm not quite sure if anyone really did attend, but the viewer numbers say around about how many people are here. So I think a few people joined in and left, and kind of we got a few comments from people. We are not going to be reading comments or anything like that during game, as it's a little bit immersion breaking and such like. But yeah, thanks to everyone who's came and tuned in. I've enjoyed this session. I'm not going to lie. I do really enjoy the beginnings. I like it. I get to plan it out a lot, and it always feels good.
Yeah, I'm gutted that I couldn't be here for the very beginning.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. You were literally the centerpiece of the beginning, with you sailing in and everything, and I was like, I'm gonna have to change it now, but no, I just kept it, and I'm happy with how it turned out.
Sorry for being late.
Yeah,
We'll get you in next time.
yeah.
Get you in ASAP next time.
You know now.
You didn't roll anything, so I didn't get to impose a disadvantage on you, but you escaped that one.
It was there in spirit.
Do a walking check at disadvantage.
Yeah.
Oh, you trip and fall.
Curse me for not including you meet in a bar and the bar gets attacked. Then I would have been able to get some good ones on you. Oh well.
You walk into a bar and get mobbed by fans.
Yeah.
I mean, that almost
Easy to that
happened as
later.
soon as they found out who Janus was. They're like, oh.
But yes, we
I
finish
got
off
amongst
this
men.
session. You have secured yourself some really nice accommodations in the nicest inn in town. You may have heard of it a little bit. So the Golden Swan, it's basically like a skyscraper. It's massive. And they have very advanced technological things. You know, they have elevators and such like. Magical elevators, not electric elevators. But it is definitely the... People don't stay there. It's too expensive to stay there. It's kind of there to be just a wonder of the
Witnessed.
world, you know. It's just there to be looked at. People aren't really rich enough to stay there for long periods of time.
Councilman Faring's just walking in and out, just like,
I own this place too.
it's got air conditioning, you plebs.
Everyone else just like absolutely sweltering out in the bay, just like yeah.
But yeah, that's been good. I've enjoyed it.
I don't even need air conditioning. I'm a tiefling, and yeah.
I don't feel the heat, but I sure like it cold.
I'll be turning this into a video so people can watch it afterwards, and we will pick up next week at the same time, 5 UK GMT, and we'll go for another 2 hours.